Hi, this is Chris at Clever Unicorn Games and the Unicorn Collective, back with another one of our interviews. Today I have games designers Ryan Mauk and Evan Halbert from Portland Gamecraft. How are you doing today?
Hey,
Good.
doing
Just,
well.
hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, actually, I should be quiet. The baby is sleeping.
Okay,
I should not be
we-
yelling. Hey.
We'll all whisper now.
No, I've got earphones. You can.
I can speak full volume, so I'll just take that
Yeah,
luxury
exactly.
that Evan can't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, first question. When you guys aren't making or designing or playing games, what is it you like to do with your spare time?
Evan?
I don't have spare time. I've got a 7-month-old, and I'm a chiropractor as my day job, and then I come home, and once the girls go to bed, then I work on game design stuff. Although right now it's just been tabletop simulator modding.
Don't babies take up a lot of time?
A little bit, yeah. It's very strange.
You got to feed them and hold them, and yeah.
They're like reliant on you at all moments
They're
the entire
lazy.
time they're awake. And then they don't sleep alone. They have to sleep on someone. So you still don't get to do stuff.
Yeah, they're more fun. I've got 3 kids, and the youngest is 6 now, so past the baby part, and they're much more fun when
Nice.
they can look after themselves.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That day will come.
Go to school. See you in some hours.
And what takes up your time, Ryan?
So I am a nutritionist as my day job. Also spent many years as an audio engineer and still do that, but not as much lately. And during this whole COVID madness, I've just been playing too many video games with my free time and hanging out with my girlfriend, and we play some board games together on the weekends. So I'm keeping that up, but I lost my board game motivation for the design aspect, and I've only gotten little pockets of it during this. But I think a lot of that was just early COVID was just kind of like a system shocker for a lot of us, and for me, my outcome was more just like I still play a lot of games. I just shifted them more to video games because I'm able to do like voice chat and kind of get my hanging out with friends fix that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely feeling the like get back in the game design thing. But Evan's been doing a better job of staying on that than I have during this time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I designed the solo mode for After the Empire. That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there too. I've done a lot of video games now and a lot less games design stuff, but I have spent the time making a lot of these videos for one, and also helping other people, with their game stuff. I'm kind of. I think it's because when you're helping somebody else, it's less of your time. You're just chirping in and giving them a bit of advice here and there, so you're not focusing on that one game. But I'm personally trying to get back into that rhythm of making the games again.
Well, no one's asked for my help yet, but after this video, I'll be famous. So then it'll work.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm available
sure.
to help everybody.
Sure,
I'm actually
everybody.
helping somebody with a rule book right now.
Nice.
Like going through, reviewing, chopping it up, being real mean.
It's one of the hardest parts of making the games is the rulebook.
Oh, yeah.
Making it so that other people besides yourself can understand it is very difficult.
Yeah. I have an
Yeah.
issue where I think everybody should understand things the way I do. That's not how it works.
He's not wrong. The thing about rule books that is the hardest is that you have these different skills. You have the skill of being a game designer and putting together those systems, and then someone says, write a technical manual that's outside of your own head's understanding of how this game works.
Not easy.
Yeah.
And that's good actually, because that was I love the way that started off as a not game related question, but that came round to a really useful piece of information about rulebooks. So well done, guys.
We're gonna keep you on task. Don't worry.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So what would you say that your favorite board game is? Starting with Evan, what's your favorite board game?
I am annoying in the sense that I refuse to pick favorites, but if I had to name one that is really influential and important in my interest in the genre of Euro games, I would say that Pillars of the Earth really kind of piqued my interest in worker placement and resource management. I guess technically action selection. But there's so many great games. Before we designed After the Empire, the other great Euros I was really enjoying, Lords of Waterdeep. There's lots of things that kind of go into the mix, that eventually inform your own decisions and preferences.
But I would say that for me, the answer to your question is that I also have a really hard time saying favorite game. I had the same problem with bands back in the day, but I will say if we just go off games I play the most, I would definitely say that in the last 5 years, Clank has been at the forefront of games that I've just been playing the crap out of, and have every last piece of expansion for that game. It just hits so many nails in the head for what I like. Um, Galaxy Trucker's always been one of my favorites, and I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
it's kind of become underappreciated in recent years just
Love
because
it.
it stopped being shiny. And it takes
so
people
good.
who I always say don't play it unless you enjoy your own failures. Like you can't play that
Yeah,
game if you can't witness the unraveling of your horrible choices. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so those are some of them. And then like when we talk about more Euro stuff, Pillars of the Earth. Evan knows that because it was my copy he was playing with me originally. I mean, back when it was hard to get.
I
Um,
have one now,
oh, you have one. Oh,
finally.
nice. Yeah. And then also like Dominant Species is another great one
Oh,
Yeah.
that
right. We
it's
can
really
stop.
hard
We
to
can
get.
stop right there. My best friend. That's my
Nice. Yeah.
favorite. That's my favorite game of all time.
It's really
It's
hard to get to
really
the table, but when you do,
it's
it's
really
just
crunchy. It's
so
good though.
satisfying.
What kind of games or genre of games or particular games have inspired you to create games yourself? What was it that made you think I want to make a game?
You want to go first on this one, Evan?
I mean, what inspired me to want to make the first game that obviously we all made silly games when we were kids and thought we were going to make the next Magic the Gathering and whatever. But um, I think I still have a weird hex-based game. Anyway, from childhood. But I wasn't really planning to make any board games um, until a friend of mine had this idea for kind of a family game, a fishing game, and I tried to kickstart it when I owned a board game store, and I was like, that's a lot of people. This will go great. So I didn't market to anyone and learned my first Kickstarter lesson. Also, it would have funded if I had put a reasonable goal. We got like $7,500, which is enough to make it happen. But I put the goal at unreasonable, like 15,000 or something for no good reason. I was like, well, we can make more of them. And 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 then I didn't try again until Ryan came up with this idea for After the Empire, and basically was like, I think we should make a game. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And I had recently been playing a lot of worker placement Euros, and so I was super into it. Still am super into worker placement Euros. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I had never. I don't have a strong memory of doing any sort of like as a kid game design. I feel like maybe we all did like bad shoots and ladders sort of things that. But yeah, I have been creative most of my life. Evan and I are both musicians, and I was like I did audio production, but sound design aspect for a profession for over a decade. And so I've just always like been kind of had creative outlets, but for me, I had not designed any games before After the Empire. And it was more just came from also I've been playing games, worker placement games. Like when I kind of got into my modern era of really playing board games, I've had Magic the Gathering the whole time, but um, it was worker placement, Euro-y type stuff. Like I'd been playing Agricola a bunch around that period of time. And it just came from like, I kept looking for a game that did these things and it didn't exist. And so that just kind of was like, I had the basic skeleton of it. And I was like, how about a game like this, Evan? I know you did that Big Fish River thing. And
Yeah, Ryan's definitely the ideas man. Where I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that.
So Ryan does the ideas and then Evan does the developing. Is that what it is?
we both do developing, but I would not
Yeah.
finish the developing if Evan didn't help me finish the developing ever.
Yeah, a few months in, he's like, I've been working on this other stuff. Look,
Yeah.
I'm working on these other things. I'm like, maybe we should finish this one. We can always finish this one.
When coming up with a game, where do you start? What do you start with first?
Usually Ryan's wacky idea.
This is probably true.
And then smooth it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's basically like the idea, and then okay, well, how do we make that happen? How do we get that feeling, and how do we work with or create new ways of working with mechanics to kind of create that situation and the feeling that he's going for? Like, especially in design, it's interesting. Like, I feel almost like I'm a mirror for Ryan, where commonly, and even when we get heated sometimes, I'm like, what do you want this to do? What are you trying to get out of this? Like, how do you want this to feel? And I kind of try to help massage it towards that mechanically.
Yeah.
But usually it's kind of all like based on like Ryan's creative brain.
Does he ring you up in the middle of the night and go Evan, hovercraft, llama, banjo, make a game?
Talk to you tomorrow.
Hovercraft Banjo Llama is already in works, obviously, as of now.
I'm starting on it now, actually.
Yeah. Well, Evan gave me a lot of credit there, but I would definitely say that we are doing a couple designs that are from his brain as well. The start of and some of those we're putting a significant amount of effort in.
That's true.
Like, but the majority have been spawned from my brain, but it's not to underplay the like Evan will be like, I just spent 10 hours doing the math. Here's how this works. And then I get to just go, I don't like it. So there's like a very strong, I mean, I think our design partnership is a very, very important, both roles. Like we've found, we both have strengths in some of the same places, but we definitely have strengths in some differing places. And like, we both could do those things. It's not like I can't do the math and Evan like isn't coming up with game ideas. It's just that like we found that we are obviously stronger sometimes in different things.
Yeah, you can tell from this as well, even over conferencing, that your chemistry is working. You're not arguing with each other. So
well, I had a conversation with ahead of time. I was like, don't let it be like normal. So
we're keeping it light for the kids.
Yeah.
So with your games, you've now got one which is done successfully on Kickstarter. During that process, taking it to where it is now, what is the biggest barrier or hurdle you've come up against and thought, oh geez, I don't know what to do from here? And then how did you overcome it?
Do you mean like the Kickstarter or during the development aspect?
Anything from the beginning of when you started it up until when you got it on Kickstarter, which was the biggest part that was like, oh, I don't know how we're going to get past this?
The biggest hurdles from my end were going to be fulfillment, warehousing, shipping, manufacturing, all of that stuff, which is why when Gray Fox approached us, I was like, oh, thank God. I mean, we were going to muddle through it, but I think that was going to be the biggest hurdle, and that was what I was having the least fun spending all of my time doing. And it was going to take even more time after the Kickstarter.
No, that's good. Yeah, that is really good. It's one where, when we did our first one, it's the biggest thing, because you know how to design a game. We've been doing it for however long. We've been muddling through and putting stuff together and putting it on the table, making a prototype, so on. But then when it comes to, and this is what stopped me originally going any further with it, because I had designs that from 5-6 years ago that I just put on a shelf, because you get to that point where you've made this prototype and then you don't know where to go, and the thoughts of getting manufacturers and the logistics and that just kind of put you off, and then you don't do anything with it. So yeah, you're right, the first time finding a good publisher like that'll do it for you. Big help.
It's, and honestly, like one of the bigger, if we compartmentalize to like since the main design work has been done, like one of the bigger challenges has also been probably for me, and I think for Evan, one of the best growing aspects, which has been the development process, because you have the design process and then you have the development process, and we have a really good rapport, I feel, with the Gray Fox guys. I mean, like I like them on a personal level, and we like to hang out with them when we're at events, right? But when we got into the development, Josh Lebkovitz was he's the lead developer at Gray Fox, and it was like sort of the idea of working with a record producer, right? They're like, you have a great record, here's where it needs to be better, or here's where you could do this.
But we need to sell this to lots of people.
We need to sell this to lots of people. And so I feel that we struggled through the death throes of there are things that we loved that we wanted in that made it some of the more interesting things that like super nerdy people are going to really like dig into, but then the game might have just been this niche, really overly heavy version of itself.
Right.
And so the outcome of that is a much more streamlined, much, I think, more accessible game that has the possibility with expansion material to still go there. But the death throes of some of those ideas were extremely challenging from like the "it's our baby" perspective.
We can still get the triptych in there.
Yes,
we can still get that triptych in there.
We have a nice art triptych that we have a bunch of little like things we snuck in there in the art side that they're silly. We like to do silly things in serious game design.
There's a little bit of Where's Waldo in the board art.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. I do like the sound of that. Who is it that we're trying to find on the board, though? No, you don't have to tell me. Wait till it comes out, and then everybody can try and find who it is.
Well, it's probably going to be covered up by, a worker placement spot or
a
title or something.
You're just going to make them semi-opaque so you can just make it out underneath.
Right? Is it Where's Quarry Dude?
It is Where's Quarry Dude.
Yeah.
They did. So Gray Fox did let us keep. So we have, basically, we like serious gaming, but we are silly. So in our designs, we have like little silly things that, granted, not every Euro player is going to appreciate because they want to take it seriously sometimes, some folks. And so Gray Fox had us cut some of those things, but like a lot of like there's no flavor text anymore, which is a shame, but I get it.
The cards were getting quite busy, but there's some funny quips that Evan came up with.
Oh, I had so much fun writing with flavor text. But I don't remember where I was going with that.
Keep them for second edition.
Yeah, exactly. But we definitely have a sense of humor, and it is still in the game, but you have to look a little harder to find it.
Yeah.
Have you ever played a game that you don't have to name it, that you just didn't like and didn't get on with? And what was the mechanic or the theme or what was it that put you off the game?
Ryan, go ahead. I feel like I've been talking too much.
No, but I feel like you will have a stronger opinion on this specific question. Evan definitely does not like games when he does not like a game.
I'm not a feelings hider.
There's a board
That's like
game
a
idea.
job. Is that a career? I'm a full-time feelings hider.
Yeah.
I wish I could get paid for that. Or the opposite. If I don't like a game, or if I'm not having a good experience with the game, those are two different things, but they will both look the same. Like I can have a bad experience with a game, but really appreciate the mechanics and how it's working and how I would expect to normally enjoy it once it's fully developed, things like that. But we've definitely played a few games where I'm just like, why? Why would anyone spend their time doing this? Making it, playing it, I don't understand. Brian, do you remember that one? I won't name it, but do you remember that one game we played? It's basically like a pick up and deliver.
Oh yeah,
game.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like, I am convinced still that we missed a rule somewhere that made it a relevant game that did something.
Yeah.
But we looked through the rule book pretty good.
I've done that though. I've played a game and completely missed a rule and then gone back and it's been a different game.
I have like the perfect, and this is like my forever example of missing a rule and it changing everything, was Machi Koro. Are you familiar enough with it?
Yeah, I played it.
So the rule that determined whether the red cards steal your money before or after you make money made it so that if it's after you make money, the game is get red cards and get lucky and steal from other people so they don't get to play the game. And it was like, this is awful. This is an awful game. And we caught that, and then it was like, this is a great game. It was like one rule that took it from horrendous to like, oh yeah, no, I was just wrong. This is really fun. I
enjoyed that until I got shown that it wasn't worth. Until you got the expansion, it wasn't worth getting the 2 dice cards. So you could win the
interesting.
game just using the 1 dice cards, and you didn't have to get the bigger buildings and stuff.
Yeah,
I think the
Machikoro, I've heard that
expansion
the
fixed it.
Harbor expansion is like a fix almost, and there's some games that the expansions come as like this is like something that needed to be in the base, but for whatever reason wasn't. But yeah,
But it's
to answer
short and a
from
lot of
my
fun, though. It's short and a lot of fun, so
oh
I
yeah,
still enjoy it.
and I personally
Yeah.
like Valeria Card Kingdoms as like the next
Yeah.
version of that myself.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried that one,
No, I haven't played that. I've seen it though. I've seen it on BGG or somewhere. I've
Yeah,
seen
it's a
yeah,
good one.
art's great. It's Daily Magic Games, which is based out of both Portland and Seattle. They're kind of a
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest game, or maybe I think Seattle, maybe Olympia. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great art. It's kind of like for me, it's what I play now instead of Machikoro. But I can see how it built on the back of Machikoro, you know.
Right.
But yeah, to answer your initial question, I definitely have games I dislike. The one that Evan was mentioning, I also
I
I
just
very
don't get
much
it.
I literally was like just gave it away. I was like I don't want this anymore. Or maybe
We
I
turned it
picked
into
up
something different and had fun with it.
yes, but yeah, I think that there are now as we're designers, I think the bigger thing that upsets me is when we see a game we don't like and it would be so easy for it to fix its glaring issue. You're like, if that
Yeah.
rule was just this instead, the entire experience would be great. And the fact that we can now see it that way makes it sometimes harder and more frustrating because you're like, how did this get through development and sell thousands of copies with this glaring error in its design, you know?
good artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good artwork.
That's one of
I'm
them,
a
yeah.
vain gamer. I will only it's rare I play games that are like, you know, the squares and like cardboard style that don't
Oh,
have good art.
dude.
Like I'm vain in that way. I need the artistic experience, but I will then
We
acknowledge if it's not good.
we spend more time gussying up prototypes than I feel is necessary.
What Evan's trying to say is
No,
I
no.
spend too much time gussying up prototypes.
And I'm right with you there. Prototypes need to look perfect.
Yes, exactly.
I spent. You know, I used. I made a basic game and put it on Tabletop Simulator just for people to mess around with. I'm never going to publish it or anything.
It's a spaceship.
Oh.
Done.
No.
Spaceship.
Nope. You have to 3D print the correct thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I made a game and just and I couldn't put it up without using. I had a bunch of art assets from a previous game and just. I had to use those to make it look good, just for this basic game I threw on Tabletop Simulator for people to mess with and break. Has to look good.
To that point, though, I don't think Gray Fox would have stopped and looked at After the Empire if it wasn't 3D printed and pretty when they walked by.
That's probably true.
No, you're not wrong there. And I've spoken to some people from publishers and things as well, and they will, if you've done a lot of groundwork with the game before you even get to them. You know, so many people just go to them with bits of card with stuff written on and that it's hard for them to decipher them from the others. So if you make an effort and make your prototype look super good, you're gonna be a lot better off going to publishers with that and them looking and seeing how much you put in.
I think that's especially important for newer game designers who, like, if you already have a bunch of games out there that are great and your name sells games, like, yeah, you can walk in with a stick and some pennies.
Yeah. Or a
and
tissue,
be like,
a bit of tissue with something written on.
Yeah, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's great. Because then they don't care. They know that, you know, as long as the idea sounds good, that it's going to be great. And they have confidence. But if you're a new designer and you go, I've got a stick and some pennies,
you get locked up.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be able to see through they're not going to be able to see the artifice around the thing that you've created.
Yep.
As well, I think. So I think it behooves you, if you're a newer designer, to actually make some pretty nice looking prototypes.
Yeah.
What how has the state of the world at present affected the way that you design and make games?
It has stopped the way I've designed and made games lately. Early on in COVID, I still had momentum, carrying off Evan and I meeting twice a week, every week for like 5 years straight. And I definitely there's a new game idea I have that's like I'm still really excited about, and as Evan brought up, new ideas for me are the thing that I get most excited
the old ones.
Yeah, but I have a really, I still have motivation to work on that one, but I found that definitely, like, during COVID, I have it has sapped my creative energy and just made it easier to just go into like a hole and just like do things to entertain myself only and not be creative with that output aspect, Um, and I've talked to Evan some about this, and it's coming back for me, but it was a bit of a slow
Yeah.
process for me. I had to kind of like churn through the heart of the sadness of the world before I could move back to creative mode.
It's there's some tough stuff out there that's way more important than board games. So yeah, like there's some serious stuff going on for
What
sure.
what would you say would be one piece of advice that you would give to somebody coming into this as a new designer who has no idea where to go from this idea they have in their head? What was your advice for those people?
I would
All
say to
right.
go to Board Game Geek to start because a lot of people will be like, I have this amazing new idea. And you're like, is it new? Is it amazing? Like, and that's, they very much may have a new amazing idea, but it's worth
Right.
making sure that it's new and amazing and not like just actually worse than a version of that already exists or not different enough, at least,
Yeah.
Um, I think that that's where I'd say to start. And then I would make sure that they're playing games, trying to diversify the type of games they're playing. And then if they really want to continue with the idea, which I think they should, in no way would I want to discourage someone from that, they should start playing it a lot. Start playing a lot with a lot of different people because um, your parents might really like your party game.
That's a
Yeah.
really good line. That is, your parents might like your party game. And that says it all in one line. Because your parents and your friends are going to say that it's good
Yeah.
just to make you feel good without actually telling you
Yeah.
the truth sometimes.
And they might
Yeah.
actually be having fun, but part of it is because they're excited for you in the creative outlet you're
Right.
doing. But it's, like you were saying earlier, like you got to put it in front of the harshest critic you possibly can. And then depending on how much of a dick they are, maybe don't take all their advice, but take some of it,
Or take it, but
Um,
just don't admit
Yeah.
that it was them that helped you.
Yes, exactly. Be like, that person did not help. I have this great new change to my idea.
I am the harshest critic, and I'm always convinced that I am right.
I don't think you're the harshest critic, but you have some ideas. What would you? Did I miss anything, Evan? Anything you'd say new designer should be?
You do not need an NDA. Don't make people sign NDAs. Your
Yes.
idea is not that good, I promise.
Yeah, there's no, that's
Yeah.
the thing as well. I tell that to people as well. Just give people your rulebook to look at and stuff. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it because there's so many mechanics and themes of games now. There's 99% chance that your game has been done before. It has been. Your
Yeah.
mechanics have been done before. What you have to do with your game is make it different to those, more of an homage, not rather than a copy. You make it in your
Yeah.
own style so that the game, it might be like another game that people have played, but it's different enough
Yeah.
that it's something new for them.
You need to get in front of the people who might actually purchase your game. Your buddy probably not going to purchase it. I mean, maybe your mom and your buddy will purchase it, but you need more than 5 people to want to buy your game, right? So you have to go to conventions. You have to play with play groups. You have to go to your local game shops. You have to play with people that are your target market. Not only because that helps with exposure, but like that helps with development. If you're out there and enough people are mentioning a thing, then it's a thing you need to pay attention to, whether or not you think it's an issue. So like that's I see lots of ideas that have yet to be play tested appropriately, and people are asking for anyway. Yes, play tested appropriately.
Yeah, and
That's good.
also actually listen to what your playtesters are saying because you're absolutely going to get that pang in your heart where you're like, no, that's what you're wrong because I know. But like sometimes I think if you hear it once, go, yeah, they might be wrong. If you hear it 12
Yeah.
times and 12
Yeah.
times in the same playtest session and then argue with the whole group about it, you're probably the wrong one. Because I've been on
That
that
sounds
end.
like an experience that you've had.
That's an experience. Yeah, like there's been people because we've worked with. There's thankfully Portland has some good local game design groups, and some of the more public ones, you'll get people who will just show up and not participate every week, and they just want to like show their thing and get other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell when they're not going to go too far on their design because they're not willing to actually take the feedback from the group. And you know, we have some mutual friends who have had that issue too, and like sometimes they don't actually get very far with the game because they end up not listening when everyone's telling them something, you know.
That's very good advice. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much for coming and speaking to me today, guys. This has been brilliant.
Yeah. Thanks for
And
having us.
Awesome. Thanks, man. That's fun.